Hello YouTube and welcome to another episode of The Cloudy Vape. In this video we're going to be talking about the Orchid version 4 clone by Tobeco. Now I know some of you think I have a very beautiful face and you just love looking at my face, but that is not why you want to watch this video. You want to see the Orchid V4 up close, so let's go ahead and dive down and check out this device. So here's the device up close. I went ahead and took it all apart just to put it back together for you guys so you can see each part individually. Let's look at the box real quick. So this is the box it comes in. So let's go ahead and look at the extra things that come with it. Alright, so it comes with some wick and some wire. It also comes with some O-rings, a screwdriver, and an Allen wrench, and also replacement screws. When I pulled it out of the box, it had Phillips head screws on it, but there are Allen wrench replacement screws for the deck. So just keep that in mind if that's what you want to use. And there's also an Allen wrench in this bag to match up with the Allen head screws inside of this bag. So those are some just extras that come with it. So let's go ahead and check out the device. Okay, so here is the device essentially broken apart. Let's go ahead and look at the drip tip first. Here is the drip tip. Very nice wide bore drip tip. It has a Delrin insulator on the bottom so the drip tip does not get hot. It is a very, very nice drip tip. I really enjoy this. It reminds me a little bit of the Tugboat version 1 drip tip. So here's your top cap that connects to your drip tip. You have some heat sinks right here. This fits in nice and snug. You also have an O-ring right here to seal the tank. The threading on this is nice and smooth. No issues so far. Very, very smooth on the threading. Here is just one piece of the barrel that connects to part of the tank. So let's go ahead and connect this. Again, these threads are very smooth. So just tighten it nice and down so that seal is made. Very smooth. So that's what it's going to look like this. Now let's check out the tank. The only issue I would have with this tank is that it's plastic. So if you have more acidic type juices, you want to stay away from using this tank. And you know, plastic's just not really a good thing to use. So that is my only con as far as the actual build of this. I believe you can get a Pyrex replacement tank for this. If you just look out there, you can probably get one. So yeah, that's the only con I would have to say about this. It does have a plastic tank. But again, you have your plastic tank, 2 O-rings to seal the tank off, and that just pops on right here. So let's just keep putting this together. And by the end, we'll have it all together. So just tighten that up right there. Alright, so now we have another barrel piece. Here's another barrel piece, and it matches exactly with the top barrel, so it doesn't matter how you put that on. You can put it on either way, and it will fit. So they're identical barrels. Very nice and smooth threads, even though you are threading into plastic. You want to be careful not to thread too tight because you are threading into plastic. Alright, so this is essentially the top cap, the whole part that connects to the bottom of the deck. This is where your juice is going to go into. So let's go ahead and look at the next part. I'll go ahead and set this down, pick up the deck, and then pick up the stem that connects to the deck. Okay, so here is the stem and here is the deck. Before we look at the deck, let's just look how this connects. This just goes right on here. Very smooth. Really no issue screwing this down. So that screws down after you build your deck like that. And then your top cap comes right on top of it. Screws down like that. So there it is. There is your entire device put together. Let's look at the bottom part. So you have a brass contact pin. You also have a screw to fill up the tank. You can unscrew this and then use a syringe or a needle point to fill this up. I haven't filled it up that way. I've just been screwing off the top and pouring it in that way. But again, you can empty it by doing this. What you need to do is unscrew the top cap first, unscrew this off, and then unscrew this and let it drain because you need airflow to get it through, or it'll just stay inside of the tank. So that's just one thing to think about. If you do want to fill it up from the bottom, just remember you just unscrew that and you just fill in the tank right there. So let's go ahead and look at the deck up close. It compares to like the Plume Veil or the Brass Monkey. You have those dual center posts, the dual center positive posts. It makes building dual coils super easy on this. Here's your airflow right here. This goes straight up into that hole. So that just kind of pulls up right there. Same thing on this side. You have an airflow that comes in. This is just a stock airflow. You can't adjust this. So here's a rubber O-ring that seals off the tank. So this really looks like a micro version of the Plume Veil's deck. very, very small, but you can fit, you know, 2 pieces of 24 gauge in there. And the good thing is you don't really need to fit very much into it because you do have, you know, 2 positive posts. So it being so small, it's okay that the holes in the post are small because you really only need to fit 1 into it at a time. I don't believe you could do like a quad coil on this. I mean, you could try, you would have to make it really small, but just for your basic dual coil builds, this is very simple and it's set up really nice. So let's talk about the quality of the deck. The only thing I would mention as a bad thing, this is super sharp right here, very sharp on the edge. However, you're not really going to be doing too much on the deck besides doing a build and then just tightening it down. You know, it's not something you're taking the top cap off all the time, putting it back on. So those are just some thoughts. But you know, if you're just careful, you're not going to cut yourself. Now, if you see the 4 little grooves, one right here, one on the top and one on the bottom, those grooves kind of round off and go up into the deck. So what you do is you build your coil straight along here, and then you let your cotton drop down into this channel. Now the trick is, if you can see where that thread stops, about halfway down on the actual deck, you kind of want to have your wick just barely going down that channel. You don't want to completely clog up that channel with your wick. So if you're trying to build on this, just keep that in mind. The least amount of cotton, the better on this. But overall, the quality of this is very nice, besides it being a little sharp on these edges. The hope is that you build it really quickly, you put that top cap on, and then you never are really getting to this area of the deck besides if you're going to rebuild. But I haven't really had any issues with, you know, being cut or anything like that. It just feels a little sharp compared to other devices. Now this device does come with Allen wrench replacement screws. So in case you don't want to use these Phillips head screws, you can use the Allen wrench screws. So again, that is something else to think about. There's just so many things to think about with this device. Let's talk about airflow really quick. Here's your airflow, as I mentioned before. It is a stock airflow, so it's not adjustable. That air will go right in and then it comes out right there. So when you're inhaling, it'll suck in and then push out right there. And then what it does, it'll go straight through the stem right up. So let's check out the stem again. So when you put that down on it, the air is going to pull out of here and then go straight up through the stem and then out of your drip tip. So a few things to mention when you're building. You do want to keep the coil right over that hole. And also you want to have it raised just slightly above that hole. You don't want to have that hole clogged up or you won't get airflow to the coils. So just make sure when you're building you do raise the coil up just slightly above that airflow hole. But besides that, it is a very simple build, very easy build. And I really enjoy building on this. Much easier than, say, a K-Fun style or a Fogger. It is super easy to build on, so definitely nice for newer builders to build on this device. And if you want a tank style device, this is a very, very good device. Let's go ahead and switch the camera angle and talk about it a little bit more. So that was the up close of this device. I'm going to go ahead and vape on it and talk about it. I'm using a 0.7 ohm build using 26 gauge Canthal, so let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so the flavor on this is absolutely killer. Really dig this flavor. It has a kind of tight draw. The airflow is just about there. It would be nice if it was a little bit more open, but it does have a kind of tight draw. But at the same time, it depends on what you're building. I think if you built a lower ohm build, it might be a little bit too hot. But I did build this at 0.7 just because I was thinking it might be a little bit too warm, being that it's such a small chamber inside of there. So I don't think you would really have a very good vape if you did build a really hot vape on this. I guess it just depends on your preference. Maybe a 0.8, 0.9, and then just crank up the watts and then just get a nice vape out of it. That's probably what I would do with this. But overall, the build quality is great. Really simple to build on. You have those dual positive posts. Very nice on that. And yeah, there's really nothing bad to say about this, except that only con I did mention in the up close is that the tank is plastic, so that is a big no-no for me. But besides that, you know, as long as you're not heating this up too much, it's not a problem. The actual device itself doesn't get too hot, so that's not really, you know, I'm not afraid of it melting. I'm just more of afraid of it cracking if you're tightening it down too much. So that wraps up the review of this device. As always, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave in the comments below or email me at cloudy.vape@gmail.com. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it. If you want to know more about this device, look in the description box below. I'll put a link to it. And if you like my videos in general, please subscribe. And as always, stay classy and keep vaping.